Hello, everybody. I'm Rick, the Wealth Coach, and today we're going to be talking about this idea, and that's the idea that broke people do not keep their word. Broke people break their promises. I'm reminded of a story in the book of Acts in the fifth chapter where we have this couple. Couple's name is Ananias and Sapphira. And Peter and the rest of the apostles, they say, listen, we're about to do some real estate deals. We're going to buy a lot of property, and we're just going to chop it up, and we're going to make sure that everybody has money equally because we're going to take care of the entire community. This is a community event. They said, everybody all in? So Ananias and Sapphira, they say, yes, we're all in. Let's go, Pete. So he says, okay, let's go. So they show up, and Ananias comes in the house where Peter is. And he says, hey, Pete, I brought all the money from my real estate deal. So Peter says, Ananias, he says, are you sure you brought all the money? Because you look a little short. So Ananias says, Pete, I'm telling you the God honest truth. That's every penny of the money. Peter said, hey, Ananias, he said, listen, man, didn't I go with you to the closing in the present? Didn't the Holy Ghost go with you to the closing when you went to do this real estate deal? And bruh, I believe you're a little short. In fact, I know you're a little short. He said, why you want to come in here and lie to the Holy Ghost, bro? We're just doing business deals around here. Nobody put no pressure on you. Nobody made you get involved. He said, wasn't it your money before you started? He said it was your deal to do. And all you had to do is just do the deal and bring in the money the way you said you was going to do it. Nobody put a gun to your head. Nobody forced you to do anything. So why you lying, Ananias? What's up with that? So Ananias is like, what I was trying to... Peter said, you know what, brother? Drop dead. So what happened? Ananias, boom, hit the floor. So what happens? So his wife comes in. She come in a little bit later. Her name is Sapphira. So it's Ananias, Sapphira, ANS, all right? Manipulative Scandalous Real Estate Services, ANS, Manipulative Scandalous Real Estate Services, Ananias and Sapphira. So she's a co-conspirator. So she comes in a few minutes later, and Pete said, hey, what's happening? She said, everything good, Pete. He's like, is that so? She's like, mm-hmm. He says, so that real estate deal you and your husband did, is that all the money the brother brought me? He brought you every dollar, Pete. You sure about that? Mm-hmm. Sure enough. Scout's honor. Pete said, you know what, Sapphira, I just got through talking to your husband, and he was a professional liar just like you. So I tell you what, this is what we're going to have to do for you. The same man, same young man that just carried him out, I want you to understand that they're going to be 2 funerals today. You know what? So you know what you can do. You know what you can do. You know what? Drop dead. Boom. So Sapphira, she hits the ground too. I mean, what? The only person really happy today is who? The funeral director. He like, woo, 2 mints in one. It's like certs with Rets and 2 mints in one. So why am I bringing this point up today? It's because broke people break their promises. And it's like unnecessary lying too. It's because all you got to do is just say, I'm not going to do it. And you'll make more money because you didn't put your mind, because you didn't put your word out. When you send your word out and your word returns void, when you write checks, the checks, they return void. Why? Because your word and your checking account are synonymous. Are you hear what I'm saying? When you write a check, it bounces. Why? Because when you speak your word, it bounces. And one thing leads to another. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Now we have another story in the Bible that's absolutely the polar opposite, an amazing story. It's about a young man named Jephthah. Jephthah is in the book of Judges. Jephthah is born and his mother's a harlot. So they throw him out of town. They say, man, your mother is a harlot. Get out of town. I'm like he got a choice about the womb he came out of. So they mock the man and get rid of him like you ain't no real brother up in here. You're a step brother. Get to stepping. So they throw him out of town. In the meantime, some gangbangers show up and start threatening these guys' lives. Now they some punks. They don't know how to fight. They ain't skilled warriors, and they afraid for their life. So they give Jephthah, they give him a call. Hey, Jeff, hey, check it out. Listen, man, I'm bad about throwing you out of town because we know you're a dynamic warrior. So listen, we was just wondering if maybe we can make amends. So Jephthah is like, what you trying to say? Can you speak in plain English, please? They say, can you please come back, man? We're about to get our head peeled down to the white meat. And would you please come back here and help us? That's what we asking you. Why? Because it's trouble in Gotham and we're about to go out. So would you please come back, bro, and help us out? I bet we didn't mean none of that stuff we said, like Luther Vandross cut. Told my girl bye-bye, but I really didn't mean it. They're like, we really didn't mean it, Jeff. So Jephthah said, listen, I tell you what, I'll come back and help y'all out under one circumstance. They're like, what's that? He said, you got to make me the head of the game, bro. They're like, man, you the head. You holding down all the power. Just come on back, man, because we dead, man, without you. So Jephthah, he agreed. So he comes back to the crib where all these malcontents are. And then he asks God, he'd go to prayer and say, hey, Lord, he said, listen, he said, if you deliver the enemy over into my hands, and the first thing come out of my house, I promise you, I'll sacrifice it back to you. So God said, you got a deal, Jeff. So Jephthah went on out and they kicked butt and took names. What? So they went out and they destroyed the enemy, annihilated the enemy. And now it's time to have a praise party. So Jephthah, he gets back home. He walks up and guess who walks out the door? His own daughter. Whew. Can you imagine? Just the idea of promising God, you're going to kill the first thing come out your house. That's what he meant. Kill the first thing that came out of his house. Sacrifice the first thing that came out of his house. And what happened? His darling, beautiful, wonderful, lovely, just drop dead gorgeous daughter walks out. You say, what do you mean, Ricky? She was a beautiful person. You know how I know? Because they said, look, baby, I just opened my mouth to the Lord. I opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I won't turn back. I will go. I shall go to see what the end's gonna be. Yeah. He said, you know what? He said, daughter, I just promised God that I would sacrifice the first thing came out of my house. You came out the crib. Ooh, man, can you just feel that in your bones? But listen to his daughter. This is how I know she was beautiful. She said, hey, daddy. She said, if you promise God something, stick to your promise. She said, you know what? Just give me 2 months to go up into the mountains and mourn my virginity. And can I take some of my friends up there with me? He said, you got it. So she went up 2 months in the mountains and she came back down. And Jephthah, what? Kept his word, sacrificed his own daughter. Why? Because he gave his word. You see, Jephthah was a wealthy man. He was rich in love, rich in mercy, rich in wisdom, and he was rich in loyalty. And wealthy people, when it comes down to literal money, the reason that people have money is because they are loyal. The reason that people have money is because they keep their word. The reason that people have money is because when they put it out there, they say, man, I'm going to stick to it like grease. I'm going to stick like grease, not like grease, like glue. Yeah, the broke people, they stick to their word like grease. Why? That's why all that money slipping through their fingers. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? So I remember one time I was dealing with a client and his name was Jason. And I was like, hey, Jay, I've got a house for sale. It's a nice place and you like to renovate houses. So Jason was like, yeah, I love to come see it, Rick. So I took him. It was a real nice place. I hadn't been inside the house. He said, why not, Rick? Well, because I don't really go inside the houses when I'm selling them. I sell them virtually. But it was not too far from where I live in Indianapolis. So I said, I'll go on and check it out. So we got inside. I was like, ooh, this place is really nice. I am really underselling the value of this house. I could sell it for at least $30,000 more than what I'm asking Jason for. So Jason is looking at me like a deer in the headlights. He's like, man, Rick is about to go up on the price. Well, I looked over at him. I said, hey, Jay, I said, the price is the exact same as I told you when you came. Why? I said, because it's my fault I didn't come over here and look at this house, not your fault. So I know you're thinking I'm about to change price, but I'm not. Why? Because it's still it. Okay? Why? Because I told you one thing and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep my word and that's it. It ain't nothing else to talk about. I said, but you do have to call me back within a couple of hours or else I will send an email blast out. Let everybody know this is for sale now. If you don't want to, if you're not interested, but let me know. So naturally call me back in a couple of hours. Now, some people will say, hey, Rick, you lost $30,000 in that deal because you didn't reconsider the price. I say, no, I don't believe in that. I believe that wealthy people keep their word. And I believe that if you make a mistake, you pay for it. Why? Because it's better to pay for that little mistake than to make the big mistake of what? Being like Ananias and Sapphira and then having to deal with God, because I'm afraid of God. I'm not afraid of people, but I'm afraid of God. And I believe that the principles of being wealthy are that if you just put it out there, that you ought to stick to it. So naturally, he bought the building. I don't know, he probably made about $300,000. But if it's one thing wealthy people don't do, we don't count other people's money. We count our money. Why? Because it's only 24 hours in a day. 12 hours to mind your own business, 12 hours to leave everybody else's alone, as grandmama used to say. I hear what I'm saying? So About it, I don't know, a little bit about a year or two ago now, I was doing another real estate deal. And what's important is that because of the fact that I wouldn't cheat this man out of his money, got on the phone. I was talking to a lady about a property. And a lady happened to be a friend of mine, not happened to be, God had it all set up. Where I was talking to somebody who was a friend of mine, but I didn't know she was because I was just following up on somebody who we had already done a deal with. And because we had already done a deal with the person, he told me about other people in the neighborhood. And he mentioned a house that was really nice that had a pool in it and everything. So I got on the phone and I called the person. And the name was Jackie. And she said, hi. I said, and she got to talking. And the more she talked, I said, Jackie, what do you do? She said, I'm a pastor of a church. And she told me where it was. And I said, oh, wow. I said, Jackie, do you know who you're talking to? She said, no. I said, you're talking to Brother Ricky Williams. I have sung at your church on several occasions. She's like, Ricky? I was like, uh-huh. She said, how you doing, brother? I said, I'm doing great. So we started having just a wonderful conversation. We forgot all about the house. So she said, I'm not selling it right now, Brother Rick. She said, but you know what? If I decide I'm going to do it, I'll let you know. She said, people call me every day, and I really just want to renovate it and keep it. I said, okay, Jackie. I said, forget about that house. I'm glad to hear from you. And I'm so glad that you are winning your health battles. She told me that she had been dealing with cancer, things I didn't know anything about. And I was just like, you're a phenomenal human being. You have an amazing spirit. And just thank you so much for sharing your joy with me today. And we'll talk again soon. So she called me back in about 2 months. And she said, hey, Brother Ricky, how you doing? I said, I'm doing fine. How you doing, Jackie? She said, I'm doing good. I said, what's going on? She said, I just wanted to call you because I want to give you this house. And I said, excuse me? She said, I want to give you a house, Brother Ricky. She said, the bottom line is that somebody's about to pay the taxes on it. I can't. She said, I just want to concentrate on my health. I'm going to lose it. You can have it. Okay. I just rather you get it. And I just sign it over to you and you can pay the taxes if you want to. And then pay, get the renovations or just whatever it is that you want to do. She said, it's a lot of liens on it. She said, but I believe you got favor. And I believe all those liens will come out. Well, it was true. It had about almost $400,000 worth of liens against the house. And, but that didn't matter because, she was right. So I said, Jackie, I don't really want the house. Like she said, Ricky, I signed these papers. Would you come and get them? So I went ahead on that sign. I came down and got the papers and we went out to eat. And then she signed the house over to me. So it did have a lot of liens on it, but I did have favor. So I hired a firm of people who know how to clear a title. And they got like $400,000 almost worth of stuff off of this title. And I was able to sell a house and make around $100,000 worth of profit. What's my point? My point is that if you keep your word about small things, then God will give you a lot of money because that's the way He has a lot of money. God has a lot of money. All right. God has so much money until we can't count the corn. And the only thing that can block us from money is lying and cheating. All right. So don't be like broke people. Broke people don't keep their word because they are very covetous. They always worried about a little money. Ananias and Sapphira, they was worried about the little difference between the money they was trying to hold out on. And it cost them their life because broke people, they go to hell. All right. Broke people, lying people go to hell. All right. So don't go to hell about no money. Okay. And ain't enough money in the world worth going to hell over. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Don't cheat people and don't lie. Just tell the person it is what it is. And if you're going to do it, do it. If you're not going to do it, just say, I don't agree with that. And then live to see another day. Okay. And remember that your blessings are tied right into you keeping your word. Just think about it. Jephthah, he offered his own daughter up. And you mean to tell me that we can't even keep an appointment? You mean to tell me that we can't even just do what we said we was going to do? You mean to tell me up under all that pressure, that man gave up his own flesh and blood, and our business deals are just merely shaking hands and agreeing with what and actually doing what we said we were going to do? Are you hearing me? Are we going to make a big deal out of that? Are we going to learn our lessons today from Jephthah? Are we going to learn our lessons today from Ananias and Sapphira? And will you set yourself up for the next Jackie that's already been ordained to come into your life because God is watching your attitude? All right. Think about those three things as you go on your way today. It's been a plum pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. I love you all. Ain't nothing you can do about that. And remember that stellar is as stellar does. Have an outstanding day.